And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my always co-host Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm good, Rob. How are you?
Oh, absolutely pleasant for a
Tuesday evening.
Not too bad. It wasn't absurdly hot today in California, but
That's
it
true.
is coming.
Yes.
I saw.
And the humidity.
It's kind of gross.
It is.
It's not
weather.
It's not what we're used to. So I think that's kind of the knock. I'm sure the people who listen to us in Texas and throughout the South, they kind of giggle at us because we only have, 35% humidity and we're bitching. So you know what it is. But supposedly I heard by next week, it's going to be like 104 where I'm at, which means you're going to get some of that too. You'll probably be in the 90s.
We'll probably be.
I'm guessing.
Too.
We're both in valleys, so either way, we're kind of screwed.
Mm-hmm.
But so this week I posted something on my personal Facebook just for shits and giggles because I saw a quote on the back of someone's car that just happened to be from Star Wars, and I super duper love Star Wars. So it was an interesting quote. It said, "Let the past die, kill it if you have to." And a friend of mine named Catherine, who lives in Georgia, said, hey, had some things to say about it. Mostly saying that sometimes the past is all you have, especially as you get older. And I think when I saw the quote, or at least how I view it because of the movie and how it's done in there, it's more like, look, the past is the past. You can't change it, so let that shit die. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the context of the movie. And I thought, look, most of us have something that we need to let die, or something that haunts us. But then I kind of started thinking about the same thing that she said, where, yes, I think as you get older, your past is what you have, because it settles in about the best years of your life. And you probably aren't making those same kind of memories as you get older.
I would hope not.
Well, yeah, mostly in your case.
I mean, I hope not. Bigger and better.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you definitely got to learn and be kind of like, oh, hey, don't do that kind of shit. But
yeah,
I think that in this case, I was more thinking like there's always something that haunts you, or there's things you need to get over. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how I more saw it, is like, look, you got to get over things, either people, because people are your past, or things that happened that you really don't have control over. Mm-hmm. At least that's the way I kind of see it. Because look, there's things that have happened to all of us through the past. You, me, all of our friends.
Oh, yeah.
That when they happen, I think you go, the world is out to get me. Mm-hmm. And then obviously years later, when we have time to either have more shitty things happen or actually have time to have a little retrospect, you finally go, yeah, that shit was not to get me. It just happened. And that's unfortunately the way life is. Look, life is not easy. And I know everyone would love to walk through it like a flower bed. You know what I mean? Like frolicking through the flowers. Unfortunately, we don't frolic through the flowers.
But we should be able to have some moments of that. It shouldn't be bad all the time.
Totally agree. I think in general, look, life should be at least a 60-40. you should be walking through the flowers 60% of the time.
I think you could go higher than that.
So do I, but I'm just trying to be nice. Okay, let's say 70-30. I'll give you that. 70% of the time, things are in your control. 30% of the time, they're not. Like you wake up in the morning, a guy at my work, comes in this past Friday, drives his father-in-law's car because they're getting ready to move a trailer, blah, blah, blah. So he drives, and of course, with gas, $8,000 a gallon, he wants to use a car instead of a truck because it's just more fuel efficient.
Right.
He drives, comes to work, does his couple of hours, heads on home because he's leaving early for the day because he's going to go to Solvang. Like, cool, dude. Have a good time, blah, blah, blah. He gets home. Truck is stolen right out from in front of his house. Even crazier. He has Ring cameras everywhere. For that, 35 seconds, black, no recording.
What?
Yep. Doesn't know why. Called Ring. Says it's processing. Nothing happened. Nothing.
What?
So I think, you start looking at things like that where you think the world's just against you. Then he goes to his insurance company, blah, 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 blah. They sent him like a questionnaire to do. Like, hey, fill out all this information we need to know. It was 7 pages long. And it had a bazillion questions. I was surprised it didn't ask for a sperm count and blood type. Yeah. Literally. And I'm not joking. It had everything. Cell phone number, cell phone carrier, who's on the bill, like shit that they have no business knowing. Like,
why would they ask that?
I don't know. It was just part of this questionnaire that he had. But I think when you think of things like that, like the world is out to get me. And it's not. Or at least you hope not.
I just think you can't have that mindset from the get. Like, if you go into life thinking that you're going to be a victim, that's exactly what you're going to get. And that's what you're going to be, because that's what you're going to see and notice and be a part of. If you just go, okay, well, shit's just happening. Maybe it's just a cycle, and you just go through it. And then, at some point you'll be over it. You got to go with a better mindset.
I'm trying to do that for sure. I think that's what you're right. What we all really kind of have to do. At least do your best. Like,
you got to fake it till you make it a lot of days too. But if you're working on being happy, you're fixing what isn't right about your life. And that is your mindset.
Agree. I mean, I think, look, fake it till you make it is a constant battle for some people. Or it's the battle that makes you go to work in the morning. Not every day. The one day that you're just like, I cannot do this shit today. And whatever is wrong. Because, I told you a couple of weeks ago, I got in a car accident. And my neck's just been fully bugging on me. The other morning, literally, I got to work and I told the guy at my work, I was like, I do not want to fucking be here today. My neck hurts. I felt like crying. Took a couple pills. Boop, all better. Finished out the day. And then I got an actual call from the guy who hit me, or hit the middle car, who then hit me. Got a call from his insurance. So he has insurance. So things are looking up. Good. So maybe I'll get my money back from that and get a little money. Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
What is going on with you, old man?
4 o'clock in the morning, walking dogs, and then
right.
And then, usually I come home, do all my shit, eat, then take my dog to the park for almost 2 hours every night. And then, so I'm not resting enough. I'm going to try to change some of my habits. Okay. And then see if that doesn't help.
That's why you don't have kids in your 50s.
Yeah. No shit.
No,
yeah.
I'm not kidding.
That's true. No, you're totally true. I don't see how people do it.
I wouldn't want to.
Do you think most people have that one thing in their past that haunts them, or they should just let die and they don't?
I would hope so. I would hope everybody lived enough to have that one thing that slipped away, or that you couldn't change, that just happened, and you have to look at it and analyze it and resolve it. I think that's a good thing. That's a lesson. Doesn't mean it feels good all the time, but I think that everybody needs one. I mean, I have some. I know everybody that I'm close to has that thing, or I wonder what if I turned left instead of right, like what would have happened if I had moved away instead of stayed? Like everybody has that one thing where they realize it was a big fork in the road and they had to choose only half of what they could have had. That's just the way life is. So I want everybody to have that. I know that sounds really shitty, but
no, I think, look, you're right. I think most people have something that, and I hate to say the word haunts, but I really don't have another way of putting it, because look, I have something that I need to let die, and it's hard. It's hard to, finally say goodbye to something that was, prevalent for many, many years. Mm-hmm. So, but I have to, and I'm working on it. And I think that I've done a really good job, because it's just healthier, to let things go and let it die, and understand that, look, it was a part of life that turned me into a different direction, whatever that is. And I'm doing my best to learn from it. But I also think that it was good. That part of it wasn't bad. It just wasn't what, I envisioned in the end.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to love and letting go, because it seems like that's what a lot of people tend to do. They have a hard time letting go. And when you let go and you find the resolve, you could move on to the next person. If you don't resolve it, if you don't get over it, that's always going to come back. But I wonder why it comes back, because some people, it just seems to always be a part of their life. Why is that? Is that because they're supposed to be, because there's some sort of soulmate, or is it because somebody's a little bit stalkerish and just doesn't want to get over it? I don't know. I think it's different for every situation, but I don't know that if anybody ever lets go of something that meant something to them, if not the thought of it.
I think that we all put it in a box and put it in an attic. Mm-hmm. That, look,
out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind, and a learning experience. Like I said, it's okay to do that. I think with my first love, our friend, seeing her 20 years later helped that closure. Mm-hmm. Like it was a different time, and we were different people, and it was good to see that, whatever it was a good door closing experience, where it was good that I saw her, good to walk away, good to say, hey, good for you, good for us. Everything involved was really good. So I think that it's just walking through that every day, and the past is the past. You can, but I do believe that you can make the past your present or future. You just have to tread lightly on it, and you can't push the past to make it something that's not, but you can push it out if you have to.
If you want to.
Yeah. And I kind of agree with my friend Catherine, because like she said, as you get older, maybe, the memories are all you have. And, I do
she's
agree.
Not living hard enough. Catherine,
well,
live harder. I mean, like seriously, do more.
I think that No, I just think, I mean, she is older. She's probably she's probably in her late 60s, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think she lived, and maybe she wasn't talking about herself. I think, a lot of it could be, older relatives. Because I do think that, like, I only knew one of my grandmas because they all passed away when I was really young. So I think that my grandma did have that, though. Like, she kind of lived on her past, and sometimes it'll make you bitter. Love my grandma to death. She made the best cookies ever. But she had issues with her kids over stuff. So I think she was bitter over some of that stuff, or some life choices she made. And maybe she should have let some of that die so she could have been happier as she grew older.
Right.
Because I think that is a thing, that holding on to some of the past is just an anchor for yourself, and it'll just make you bitter and angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for myself, that's why I'm trying to let this past die, because sometimes you have to, because I don't want to be bitter, and I don't want to be angry at the world over something that happened that I really had no control over. Like, you don't have control.
You don't,
but
you also, when it comes to love, you don't want to have to prove that you're worth loving. They should just love you, and they should see it without you having to do anything. And
sure,
I think a lot of people live in that, where, like, if I had just done this, or if I just done that, and like, no, because when you're in love with somebody, you'll let them do anything and you'll take it, or you'll be a part of it, or
I think I agree with you. I think what I would put, what you're trying to say is that you morph into each other. Like, look, I can take the worst thing that someone does, and if you can deal with that, you're fine.
Right.
Like, we've talked about it before. I always use the socks on the floor incident, because I've talked to girls that was like, he was just messy and he always put his socks on the floor. And I was like, did you pick him up? She was like, no. And I was like, well, that's your problem. Like, yeah. I go,
That's a little chauvinistic.
No, it wasn't me going, hey, you're the woman, pick him up. I was more saying, if can pick him up.
Pick him up.
And I said, you just don't know what it is that bothers him, because he just does it.
Mm-hmm.
He just deals with it. He's right. Like, yeah, she does, whatever. She leaves empty ice cream fucking things on the kitchen at night, and because she doesn't throw them away, or she leaves them on the side table of the bed. And then the next morning, you just saw you walk by, pick that shit up with the spoon in it, throw it away, and never even go to her and go, why don't you throw that shit away? Like I said, we're going to get ants. You just don't worry about it. You just go, oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah. When in talking to my ex, towards the end of our relationship, and he said the things that actually bothered him, it was kind of funny. I'm like, we've been doing this the whole time, and just now you're starting to say something. It took a lot for him to say something, where for me, I was just like, oh, come on. But he was kind of a little bit different. Like, I liked when he did something that was out of the norm, like he left something out, or he did something different than what was normal, because he put everything in the hamper and he made sure everything was perfect. And it was kind of hard living with perfection.
And I think that I know people who live with people who have major OCD.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, out of control. Like, when someone puts a drink down and someone comes by and picks it up and takes it outside and there's a ring, they go and clean the ring up.
Oh, yeah.
Right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
my aunt was like that.
See, I don't do that shit. I'm like, whatever, I'll get the ring later. That's what Windex is for. And then
my aunt had a coffee table that was a glass top, and my parents taught me to lick my fingers and go underneath it and like make a mess. So
wow.
My mom was a kind of a bitch, but it was funny. Like she just used to mess with my aunt, and that's how they did it, was through the kids. So
just stick the kids on them. That's great.
she's
Your
just
mom
walking around with Windex and a rag hanging out of her back pocket.
Yeah, I'm sure it had to be crazy. Had to be crazy.
Yeah.
But those are the things of like, again, where do you hold on or let go? And to me, there's a fine line. And look, I'd be lying to tell you that I am not going through it now, because there's something that still is out there that makes me wonder, like, but I know that it's the best to let go.
I think you should let go of what's bothering you. Whatever it is that's bothering you, that's what you need to let go of. Whatever's left, the good part, the type that you don't mind, or not the type, but the part that you don't mind, I think that's what you hold on to.
Sure. And I think in this case, that's what I'm doing. I mean, this has been a 5-year adventure.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'm good with it in my head and heart now. I know. And thankfully, I haven't had contact or anything with said person, and I don't have to, which is really good. Mm-hmm. But I know that what's, look, it's good for her, like whatever. And at the end, the true feelings that you should have for somebody is what we've talked about before, and you've heard from everybody else, is that if they're happy, you should be happy for them.
Nah, bullshit. You don't need to be anything. See, that I don't agree with that, because you have to be whatever you need to be for you, not for that, not for an old relationship, not for something that's gone and over. I don't agree with that.
I'm a believer that if you look, love is a weird thing, and you don't always end up with the person you're supposed to be with, or you think you're supposed to be with.
Yeah.
I think that's the better. I mean, you should end up with the person you're supposed to be with.
Yeah.
In theory. But I think that because someone had told me about her before, they said, look, if you do love her, you need to let her go. And I am the one that says, no, I don't do that shit. I'm a fighter. But this way, I think, at the end of the day, you have to let go, and it's better. And maybe it's been an anchor for me, with someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
you can't let somebody in a space that's full.
True. And you can't let the past dictate, anything. You can't let it go. You can't say, this didn't happen for me 4 times before, it won't happen now. That I'm definitely living my life differently than that. Look, we all have our quirks and our weirdnesses about things. We have our own views and say, oh, this shouldn't be good because this has happened in the past, and your past is this is it. And it's like, no, I disagree with that. And I had somebody once tell me that, like, you need to work on you so you don't keep doing this in your relationships. It's like, yeah, I mean, I can understand part of that, but again, we are who we are, so you can't always do that. So I don't know. I'm up for letting the past die myself. I think you have to.
Okay.
But I also don't believe that for everybody. Sometimes I think the past is important. Like, I'll give you an example where I think the past is important for me is like old acquaintances. I have had 2 old wrestling friends within a month die. Not young, but not old. Younger than me. And it was, out of nowhere. I guess one was ill, but he got better. Okay. The other one literally was out of nowhere. Boop. At least for me. I had talked to somebody else who said he had a stroke about 5 years ago, but I guess it was good. And he called me on Saturday and was like, hey, I need to talk to you about him. Just let's talk about him. And because he's writing a book. Like, oh, hey, cool. I'll kind of tell you, blah, blah, blah. So we talked about the past. And I think when we talked about the past, it was good stuff that we all wanted to hold on to because it did mean something to where it's not affecting the present, but it definitely makes you think about the good times. Because good times, we all want to remember the good times. Nobody wants to remember the bad times.
No.
But I think that that's also important.
That's the
Sometimes
lesson.
Exactly. You have to realize that the speed bumps sometime keep you from going too fast and fucking things up. And the past is also, you'll start doing something and somewhere in your head, it should be like, don't forget you fucked this up before. And you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I did this shit before and I'm doing it again. And it's causing some damage. It's kind of a thing for me. So I went through something that we both know of with this thing and kind of started thinking about a life with somebody else. And to me, it was a good thing. I think long run, it would have been a good thing. But I think you let your past catch up with you sometimes on that, and it'll slow you down to where you overthink things. Because I think the past makes you overthink for sure. Because you're like, oh, it's this didn't work, and this didn't work, and this didn't work, and this didn't work, and you're all of a sudden you think nothing works. And I don't agree with that now. You have to. I kind of made a mistake. I think because I'm a fighter generally, and something happened between me and somebody, and then I was like, I'm not going to fight for this anymore, because every time I fight, I just get deeper and deeper, and people get more pissed at me. And now I'm not. I don't know if that was the right thing to say. Maybe I should have fought a little harder, but I in my own head, I started looking at my past, and I said every time that I fought too hard, it just made it. I got in too deep. I got in deeper, where people were just like, "Yeah, you're too much," and I don't want to be too much anymore. I just want to kind of be, hey, this is what I want. So,
I think for the right person, you will not be too much.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that look, if you have a past in a relationship or a friendship or whatever it is, you pretty much know who people are. So the reality is that, yeah, you're probably going to say things that irritate people or slightly fuck things up for the moment. But I definitely think that you should be adult enough to say, hey, look, we know that the last 2 days have been really bad. And what happened? Like, why did we get here? And don't let it fester for months and months and months. And then, you may never talk to each other ever again over something that maybe was just a bad time to do something. I don't know.
I don't know what to say about that. I say make the mistakes, have the fun. I don't know. I think for me, because of the age I'm at and where I'm at in life, I'm like, you know what? I'm okay making mistakes. I'm okay doing it wrong. I'm okay not being with the right person for the rest of my life. I'm okay to not plan that far in advance, because I don't know what life looks like after tomorrow. So make some mistakes. Do whatever you want. Fucking don't worry about it. And remember what you want to, and put the rest away. You don't need to be a victim. You don't need to live in your crap. You could put it aside. You could be thankful for the moment and just start changing the way you think about life. Because if you're not constantly dwelling and you're living, that stuff goes away a lot easier than it would if you sit there and dwell on it.
Agree. I definitely think that that's for sure. You just look, don't let my whole thing is look at your past. If you believe learn from it. And if you truly believe you have to kill it, kill it. And I mean outright, done.
Listen,
don't ever look
you always
back.
got to do what you need to do for you to get through the life that you are living. And
Correct.
sometimes that's a little messy, and you try not to be, an asshole doing it. But if you have to be an asshole, still your life. Fight for it.
Agreed. And I think that the memories of your past that need to be held on to, you should hold on to with the tightest of grips, because they may serve you well at another time. Like you said, you're always going to learn from the past.
Always.
And sometimes you have to, again, lock some stuff up, kill other things, move on, keep this, always remember certain things. And again, we're constantly learning.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll learn until they put you in a box, or
if you're doing it right, that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah. I mean, because look, we're animals, and we do certain things, and we're always going to continue to make those mistakes. So I'm just going to start killing my past much sooner than later.
The stuff that doesn't serve you, or the stuff that doesn't feel good, do it.
Yeah. And I'm going to do it.
Don't feel bad about it.
And I'm going to do it as it happens. If I do something that I'm just like, ooh, that was probably not a good idea. Yeah, fuck it. I'm just going to keep moving, because I don't want the weighted shoes. Hey there.
Hey.
Looks like we lost our audio for some crazy reason.
Yes.
Well, I guess we'll have to edit some of that out now, won't we?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because it was dead silence.
Yeah, I was just like, what I got a little oops on my screen. But look, the whole thing with this past is yes, I believe that sometimes you should kill it and sometimes you should hold on. And I think, look, as we get older, those memories of our past are going to be much more meaningful. You know what I mean? Like, without a doubt, you're going to need them later on in life, where you're holding on to whatever it is life was. Because look, at the end of the day, we all want to sit back at the end and go, hey, this is what we wanted. This is what we did. And hopefully not look at those bad things like they were a horrible existence, because I'm not going to. But we've talked a lot of times, mostly over the last couple of weeks, about certain things we're looking to do. Mostly, we talked about midlife crisis, and I think that part of that is looking at your past and going, okay, look, I'm halfway through this shit. Where do I go from here? So the memories from here on out are all money, or you know what I mean?
All money,
are all money, or at least close to being money. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, I mean, look, every once in a while you're going to step in shit. That's just reality.
It happens.
Yeah. And you just got to make sure to have the hose to wash that shit off so you don't drag it in the house.
Yeah. Don't wear Vans.
Ooh, Vans are the worst, man.
Right?
Fuck,
I've been there, done that.
Yeah, you step in poop, boy, with Vans, and you're wishing that you didn't own them. You're like looking for puddles to like soak and rub your feet in so you can just get it off there. Yeah, it's the worst. But now that I've looked at some of the things that Catherine was kind of saying, and yes, sometimes the memories are all we have, and I understand that's going to continue as we get older, and I'm definitely going to hold on to those great ones, but I'm going to try my best these days to kill off some of the things that are hampering me or holding me back or holding me down, or I think they are. Because even if I have a thought that they are, I should be walking away from them. I shouldn't be letting them rule my day on a daily basis or on a weekly basis at all. It should be like, look, cool, this happened, great time, move on. Or time for it to let it go. Because I think that mostly, like, I think for me, it's my divorce. Like, I look back on those, my marriage and this and that and the other thing, and go, okay, did it, how did it affect me? Was it good? Was it bad? I got to let that shit go. Like, that was 13 years ago. That it really shouldn't dictate my life right now. Mm-hmm. It was, I've skated past it. I survived. I've done better. I shouldn't worry about what happened during that time period. Hopefully, I've grown from that, at least a little. And then the small things in between.
Even with that, if there's something that you feel like you did incorrectly, or you felt like you feel remorse for having done it, just apologize. Just say, you know what? Call her up and say, hey, I got to tell you something, just because I need to say it. And tell her you're sorry for it, and then let that shit go. It's not serving anybody. Right. I like to go back and say, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in ages. But you know what I was thinking? When this happened, I could have been better. I could have tried harder. I didn't think of how it affected you because I didn't experience what you had experienced. So I didn't know how to deal with it. And then people see you as human. You don't need to be perfect. I think we were raised in a time that we were supposed to be perfect people, and we're not. And I think that's why we're having so many problems now, is because we're all having to deal with the fact that we weren't perfect. So then if it's bothering you, just apologize. Like, if there's something there, say something. It's okay to say something.
Right. No, I agree. I think that you have to be able to look at the past and say, look, even if you don't say sorry in real time, because some people we can't, but it's okay to say sorry out loud and go, look, this didn't, it didn't do this or it didn't do that. It wasn't anyone's fault. Or if it was both people's fault, look at it like it was and say, okay, look, it is what it is. We can't change the past. We can just move on.
And it's okay to not be able to change the past. It's okay to not do things perfectly. Just be human about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. And I think, mostly with how our lives have been, we're definitely not young. We're not old. Well, look, I don't know. My knees tell me every day that I'm not young. Mm-hmm. But I my past is part of those knees. Mm-hmm. There's a reason that I'm the way I am. And
because you used to jump on them to wrestle with adult men.
Exactly. Which is a whole other weird thing. But we can talk about wrestling on another show.
That is a weird thing. We should talk about that.
Yeah, we should. I should bring on another wrestler, and we'll make jokes about wrestling with other sweaty dudes.
I remember you being not gay. Right? You were so into it, though. You're like, this is my thing. We get to beat up on each other and jump off of shit we shouldn't, and cut our faces
and break shit.
Yes. That was like your thing. You're like, hell yeah, let's go do it. Yeah. And it was fun to watch you just because you like to do it. I wasn't a wrestle fan, but it was fun because it was your fun.
Yeah.
And I was included in that.
And I think during that time period, I think most people who knew me, didn't think that's who I was. So I think when you walk out of the curtain and people go, whoa, like, what the fuck is that? And that's a part of my past that, again, I don't regret, but if I could change it, I would, just based on how I think my 60s are going to be.
I don't think you'd change it. I was there. That was like your glory. Why would you change that?
Because I'm going to be physically, it's going to physically changed me. It physically changed me. And what it's going to be like in my 70s, and if I live into my 80s, I'm going to be a walking wreck.
No, they got shit to fix it. You couldn't go without those memories. I'm sorry, I was there. Like that was kind of a highlight time in your life for you. That's like when I would describe you, that's like a highlight time that I would definitely talk about, because it was who you were and it was who you loved being and it was your passion. So I think you'd still do it even with those knees.
Maybe. I mean, again, thank goodness we can't relive the past.
Right.
Because, who knows who knows the decisions I would make outright, though. If you knew you could fix your past, there's a lot of shit that was meant to happen. You're meant to meet people, and you're meant to do this, and you're meant to have a kid, and you're meant to, move on from that person and whatever. That's the way I look at it too. Fate is a weird thing. Mm-hmm. You can't escape the fate. You just can't. Your fate is, you can't escape it. You can do your best to tweak it or move it in a different direction, but fate is a weird thing. I don't know. I think that our pasts are a roadmap to the future. We're supposed to be learning from that the best we can. I think I have a little. And then other days I think, man, I didn't learn shit from anything that I've ever done.
Good. Keep making mistakes. It is okay. It is okay to make mistakes.
It is, but I don't want to continue to make the ones that, are, you don't want to make the same one over and over and over and over and over again. You should make it a couple of times and then realize, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that either. Sometimes it's okay to realize it's
a little broken.
See, I don't believe in that either. I don't know.
I don't. You know what? I haven't met outside of our friend when we were 17. I have not seen you with a woman that I would say that person's for Rob.
Yeah, but I mean, I really haven't. I mean, I was married for a long time, and I've heard that from other people about her. But I think that, see, I don't believe that pickers are broken, because I had someone tell me that. She was like, my picker's broken. Look at this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And I was like, And then, you know,
just
my answer.
Lessons. You're not picking.
But here was my answer to her, though. You've picked me. And it just got quiet. I said, see, I go, your picker's not bad. You just had to wait a little while. So
I don't know. I think everybody's got lessons that they're here to learn, and we're going to learn them regardless.
Yeah. Unfortunately, on this podcast, we're going to learn them. Mm-hmm. We're going to learn them as we go. And we have. When it comes to like electronics and microphones, we've learned a lot.
We've learned. I haven't learned anything, and I'm still like not getting it together. It's
okay. We might have solved the problem. I think we're like 90% there, and then now it's just teaching you how to use your new microphone so people can hear you and you're talking into it.
I'm going to send you a picture, and we might have to put it on Facebook of how I fixed the problem tonight. And then we can talk about how good we got this.
But see, that's not fair, because then if I take a picture of my desk, like I don't ever have to do anything here. It just works because I really don't. I don't go on but you know what? I shouldn't say anything because we're going to start recording live. Mm-hmm. So you never know when we I take something on the road. It might just totally take a shit, and I'll be the one going, yeah, I was wrong. So who really knows? I shouldn't say anything yet.
I still want to send you a picture because I'm house sitting. I'm in a kitchen. I've got wires everywhere. It's stupid.
Well, again, I think that this will, and you know what it'll be when we fix it? It'll be in the past.
It'll be in the past. And I might even have a desk in my future.
Yeah. And then we'll just kill the past, and you'll be able to walk out, press one button, and boop, we'll be podcasting.
I'm actually going to miss this. I'll be like, remember the days where it took us about a half hour so we got to talk to each other? Now we just go in, do the podcast, and we don't even catch up.
We won't do that. You know better than that.
I know,
well,
but still,
we always have to catch up, and we always have to kind of go over like what we really are going to talk about before we go on here. Because sometimes we ramble, like today. I think today was a nice rambling show, so people will go, yeah, they didn't have any idea what they were doing when they decided to do this. We did stuff. Yeah, we talked beforehand, but I don't know. I mean, we did.
I've done the freaking podcast. Not beforehand.
We talked about it, but I mean, knowing what we're doing beforehand is kind of a funny thing.
I agree.
So, and again, now it's the past, so it doesn't matter. We just got to learn from it.
And we're another one out. And we got Spain. We have listeners in Spain now.
Yeah, we got Spain. Matter of fact, the last that episode from the Reaper Report, that was the Spain. We also got on that during that same listening period, we got Australia, the UK. So definitely pretty cool. And again,
we're going to be on her podcast.
We are.
We're going to record it a week from Sunday.
Yeah, which is like way later in the future by the time they hear this.
Yes.
So it's kind of a weird thing. So who knows?
But we're still going to be on it. And
it'll probably be out. It'll probably be out by the time this comes out. I'm assuming.
Maybe.
I'm going to have to ask Lexi what her editing schedule is like, because who knows? Yeah. It could be out the exact same week as this for all I know.
She kind of puts it out right away. Hey, and also I went and saw Big Adrian Lopez from Laugh Big Comedy. He was on one of our shows. I went and saw his show the other night. He is hilarious.
You saw him in person?
I did. And he was a little too animated, and he sprained his ankle during the act. So
during a stand-up act, he sprained his ankle? He's very
animated.
We need to talk to him about what he's supposed to do.
It was really funny.
That's not physical comedy, though. He's not supposed to do that. That was actually episode 39 for all you people that want to go back and listen to it. Was it that
late?
Yeah, it was April 27th we put that out.
Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah, I saw him over the weekend with my one of my best friends and a couple of her friends from high school, and we sat there and we were pointed out for being the 50-year-olds, but we were kind of the rowdiest, so I think we did well by showing who we are, and it was a really good show. It was a good show.
Well, cool. Are we thinking of having him on again?
I don't know if I haven't asked him, but maybe. And also, his comedy partner, Patrick Laborio, I believe his name is. He's funny too. He's Samoan, and he does a bit on being Samoan, which is pretty funny. So it was a good day.
Well, good. Well, I mean, we're definitely gonna have to have some more funny people on.
Yeah,
because we all like to laugh, and comedy is always a good thing. I think we should bring on the comedians to talk about something serious.
Okay.
And see how many ha-has we can get.
Let's see what happens.
And so you can listen to this show on Apple and Spotify and iHeartRadio, Amazon, and Google. And what you need to do is you need to hit that little subscribe button or whatever it says. Follow or subscribe. I don't know which one it is on all the formats. And so our episode just automatically downloads to you, so you don't have to worry about remembering what day it comes out. You'll get hey, it's time to listen.
Yes.
On your phone or your device. So yeah, and then you can get us on Instagram, sometimes Twitter and Facebook for updates. I know the algorithms are quite interesting, and I don't know if most of you people are seeing it, but check in there. You can see it. Don't Get This Twisted on all of the formats. Anything you have to say there, Miss Tina?
Yeah, and all my close friends and family that are listening to all the podcasts and didn't even tell me until like lately. Thank you for that, because it makes me less nervous than it would have had you told me in the beginning, for one, but also that you're listening. I really appreciate it. And I love that you love it, and keep listening.
Yeah. And subscribe and follow if you're not.
And subscribe and follow.
And if you don't know how to do that because we're old,
ask a kid.
Ask a kid. Yeah. or ask Tina, and then Tina will ask me, and then I'll give Tina the answer, and then Tina will give you that answer.
But that's true.
Yeah, but it's true. It's super true. So yeah, this is an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Have fun. Come back and listen. Subscribe and follow. Make sure you tell all of your friends to listen to this crazy podcast. We're always looking for new ideas and guests. So please get a hold of us on all those things. Or if you're a friend, give us a DM or text, because we are looking for more interviews, because we like to have people on here to talk differently than we do. Or if you believe the same thing we do, hey, cool. It'll just be a fun fest of crazy ideas and stuff. And on that, you can come back every Wednesday. We put out a new show. Feel free to get a hold of us. And thanks for listening. And we'll talk to you later. All right, team.
See ya.
See ya.